Tavern Gamerz.
Alright, welcome back everyone to Tavern Gamerz. We're going to be doing a tier list video for Element TD2. It's the first time I'm doing a tier list video, so it's going to be a bit raw, it's going to be a bit dirty. But we're going to have a bit of fun and just go through the perspective. Again, this is my opinion, guys. You might agree, disagree. Feel free to put any comments on your thoughts on stuff. But this is specifically for when you're playing ranked and you're playing multiplayer and you're playing ranked random. So I'll get into the tier list. I just want to give you guys context. So I am a new player sort of to this specific game, but I'm really well versed in tower defense games. Been playing this for I don't know how many weeks now. I'm level 41, not too high, but I've been ranking my way up. Side story, I did play with the GOAT of this season. Played with Blade Max Shen. Nice guy, very humble. At the time I didn't know he was rank 1. I wasn't even aware that rank was a thing until he mentioned it through our conversation to go play some rank to learn a lot, and I did. So I did get to pick his brain, played 5 games with this guy, and he's I think ranked 1 in ranked war, ranked pick, ranked random. So really good player. When we did play, we played 5 matches. I lost all of them, of course. Most of them I kind of kept with them. Sometimes I lost right away. Sometimes I kind of lost in the end game. And there was one match where I was actually ahead of him in lives for a bit, but then he caught up and then he beat me in the end game. So I didn't get blown out, but the guy had fun. We were playing some just custom maps, similar mode. So definitely I learned a lot from him. And I'll try to share that knowledge plus my own experience of ranked random. So anyways, so if you guys are wondering, what's my rank right now, so I'm dangerous, rank 120 in the world. Those are my wins and losses. And again, I'm still learning the game, but I think I can easily climb higher than this. This is just kind of the beginning of my potential. But enough about me. Let's get back into what I'm talking about for ranked random when it's all pick. Or I guess random is the same pick. So basically the elements are random when you're playing your opponent, but they get the same element. So it's really a true test of skill. And the way the ranked works when you're playing it, basically it starts on very hard difficulty. It's random, so you don't get to pick what elements you get. If you sell shit, you get 100% value. And it starts on short, so it starts wave 11, you get 150 gold and 3 random elements, and you both have the same thing. And the paths are standard and the speed is default, so it's not really fast. You do get interest. And it also has chaos mode, so the wave order is randomized, so you can't just pour certain strategies out, you gotta adapt to what's coming at you. And the maps, of course, will be random, not just these maps, it's random. So it is a ranking system, I do like it, and let's get into it. So I'll show you guys the tower tree. Where's my tower tree? Single player, or is it campaign? So it's not campaign mode, because campaign mode does have the customizations. Customized tower table, there we go. So the way we're going to start, we'll start from the bottom, work our way up to the higher towers. So these are your beginning towers, obviously you can upgrade them. And then we'll do a ranking on the actual elements once you get like max level or tower 4 elements. We'll do it at the end because those are kind of your super towers. I'm not going to rank these on level 1 because they're all about the same. It really just depends on what element you're facing. Certain elements do bonus damage against certain types. So for example, light is really good against darkness, darkness against water, water against fire, fire against nature, and nature against earth, etc. Let's go back to our tower table. So we're going to start off. I'll read the abilities. I'm not going to, when I'm ranking it, I'm not going to go and break it down by like how good this level tower is for level 1 versus a level 2 upgrade, level 3 upgrade. We're just going to talk about the tower itself overall. And some towers are good early game, some are late, so I'm going to factor that in. So if we start off with, we'll call this the tier 1 towers. These will be the upgrade towers, will be tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, etc., 5, 6, and then the last tier will be the 7, which will be your upgrade level 4s of the different elements. So we'll try to put it in a little chart. It's going to be, again, really rough, but here we go. So with the Atom Tower, you need obviously light and earth to get it. All towers cost the same amount to upgrade them. There's no difference on pricing. It's just the requirements. So you can see their stats. Level 1, 315 damage. Level 2, 260 or whatever, 1260. Level 3, 5040 damage, etc. You can read the abilities. So with the Atom Tower, if we start with this, we'll go left to right just to keep it simple. And I'm not going to necessarily rank them as like what's the best of S tier. We're just going to bunch them up in the different tier list, which I'll show you guys my rough stupid graph here. So we're not going to, whatever I put in here, if I put it left to right, doesn't mean because it's an S that this is the best one. We're just going to overall graph them in the different tier lists. So S will be the best tier, A will be the second best, B, third best, etc. I don't think we're going to have anything in E, so we're probably going to stick to mostly the top 5 here. Alright, so Atom Tower. This one is alright. Sometimes, you need some light damage. I do like it has AoE, and it's fairly decent attack speed. The more hits you do on something, it does do more damage. So you want to have it on target on, and usually I change it to focus on the most strong enemy versus it just hitting the closest one. Again, you guys can do what's better for you, but my general strategy is to whittle the whole squad out so everything's getting low, you're getting max value out of your towers, and then your last kind of part of the base is your kill zone, or just wipes them out. So Atom Tower does a decent job of what it needs to do. It has 200 AoE, decent damage. It's decent overall. I'm gonna say it's a good solid. Here, let's copy paste this. So if we put it into our little chart, we're gonna cut this. I'm gonna give it, for now, I'm tied between A and B. It's not S tier, like when I get it, I'm like, oh fucking, I love that shit. But it's not horrible, so it's either really high or really low on the S tier or really good B tier. So Atom Tower, for now we'll put it at B. Again, this is debatable. I'm gonna put it in the B range again, or it could be really low A tier. It's not bad, it's just your average tower. So let's keep going. So lightning. This one is the combination of light and fire. I like it. The damage is a bit sus at the beginning, but it does bounce around. Obviously, the more bouncing it does less damage with each bounce, but the more you upgrade it, the more bounces you get and more damage. So late game, if you had to factor like, this one versus this one late game, where you're putting it level 3 versus level 3 on this, I feel like Chain Lightning just does more. And I love it personally because it picks off the shitters. You can put it in the front to pop their Divine Shield guys, just so you don't waste your actual hits on their Divine Shield. At the end you can use it as a cleanup. And level 3, you max it out, it does a decent amount of damage. Again, it's good against darkness, so in pretty good range, really good attack speed. So I do like this tower. I'm going to give it probably an A or an S. So let's go back to our chart, guys. Where is this thing? I do like lightning, so let's get this going. So again, I'm not comparing the best towers against the worst ones. Obviously, your tier 4, 5, 6 towers are going to be better. Right now, we're just comparing it on an even playing field to the other towers of their tiers. So I'm going to put this one. It's either going to be really high A tier for me, or we'll put it in the. I will put it here, whatever. It's definitely at best in the S tier, no questions asked, or at worst, best of A tier. But I like it. I'm a big fan of popping Divine Shield, so we're gonna call it S tier for me. Alright, next tower. Poison. So again, there's 2 modifiers. You need poison water to unlock it. Decent range on it, very slow attack speed. It's single fire, does a bit of AoE. And you can see the special abilities to do damage scales up. each stack of poison lasts 15 seconds. So you can't, I don't think it stacks poison, but you can hit multiple enemies. The idea is you put it in the front, or you have multiple throughout your map depending on how big the map is. If it's a really fucking long maze, you can get away with getting more than one poison tower on each path. But I like that it just whittles them down. It's cost effective. If it hits them early enough, 15 seconds, that's a lot of damage. So just investing a little bit on these poison towers for the price you're paying, it does a lot of work. Now if it's a really small map, it's not the greatest, so you might not want it, but sometimes you have to get it. You don't have disease as an option, for example. Overall, I do like it. Do I like it as much as lightning? For most maps, probably not, but it does have its uses on the longer maps, so I'm going to probably give this a solid, really solid A tier. Let's copy paste our little chart. Ah, fuck, I should have copied it with the names, but whatever, where she goes. So for me, it's, again, definitely above on the A tier. Some maps it's so good, it does so much damage, so maybe A tier is cutting it short. Let's give it S tier for now, slightly below the lightning. Again, these aren't perfect rankings. If something comes later on, I'm just trying to fill space, so definitely S tier at the very least, best of A tier. Alright, disease. So this is kind of similar to the Atom in a sense. It's kind of slow, same about range. It's a little bit faster. Doesn't have AoE, but it's more of a picker. You put it at the back. It kind of rapid fires like a Gatling gun. Just fucking single shot, pop shit off. The lower health they have, the more damage it deals based on their percentages. So late game, what I like, it's a really good finisher tower. Again, no AoE, but it scales really well. So having a bunch of these level 3 at your back roll, just 10 of these when you're in the level 50s, 60s, where the creeps have hundreds of thousands of millions of life or whatever. This one scales a lot better than the lightning or the poison will. So with that in mind, although it's not great on its own, it has its uses. So scalability, I'm gonna give it A tier. Again, not my favorite thing, but in certain times you got to use it. It just punches up. It's got late game scaling. I don't mind at level 3 when necessary. So we're gonna definitely, I think we're gonna put it at the top of A tier. You can make an argument still S tier. Again, that's up to you guys. I'm gonna put it A tier, or best of A tier, or a shitty S tier. Alright, so now we're into the water category. So water, for Vapor Tower you need fire and water. It's really slow on the attack speed. It's got really good range. Now it does say 0 AoE, but it does do area of effect damage. It hits all targets within its range. So when it does do that slow attack, it hits multiple things, hit 20 units. It does split the damage equally. And the more you pump into it, the more damage each target it hits. So it scales and it hits everything. So this is amazing at killing or popping Divine Shield. You put it on a corner, just doing work. And if there's just one target, it doesn't really fall off because it's just putting all that damage into that one hit. So whether there's a bunch of them or just a few shitters, Vapor Tower is fucking amazing. So kind of ruined the surprise there, but I love it. I'm giving it a very strong S tier. Okay, since we're doing the lower ones, maybe I should make space on the side here for the better stuff, but it's definitely really good. We're gonna put it here. Probably one of the best tier 1 towers. Alright, next we have ice. A little bit of AoE damage. It's a bit slow. Range is good. It stuns a little bit. You scale it up, it stuns a bit more noticeable. Level 3 stun, it's 0.25, so a quarter of a second. Can't keep stunning the same thing, so you can't have a bunch of them and just keep auto stunning, but it is useful. Good against stalling bosses. What I like about it, early game I think it's kind of shit compared to some of the other ones. it's not really worth the money. I'd rather have just some cheap water towers or anything else for AoE. But late game, you know, when you're just got money to spend and you already have enough XYZ towers and you just need to stall out those big boys or those bosses, you know, level 3 fucking ice towers, you know, they scale really well. And sometimes you have all the slowing you can, but this is the only thing that stuns really. So having this tower at level 3, just spamming a bunch of them, just stunning, you can slow them, those creeps enough, plus all your other shit. So it scales, you know, infinite in a sense. Same like Disease Tower, really good late game. So if you factor the shitty early game but really good late game, probably gonna give it an A or B. I gotta figure this out as I copy and paste this shit. So on again, level 1 and 2, it's probably C tier or B tier. It's not good. Definitely worse than the Atom Tower. But late game, when you need it, it's good. So I don't think it's S tier just because of that, and I don't think it's A tier. But for late game use, it definitely is S tier. But overall, you know, otherwise I'd put it a C or D. I'm gonna give it in the B range, kind of mid beer, because when you need it, it is good. All right, let's keep moving. Alright, so now we're going into fire. So the solar tower, this is your fire, earth shit. This tower is really good, I like it. It hits pretty quick, decent range. I mean, it doesn't hit so hard on its initial damage, but the special, right? Each target receives a stacking debuff, dealing X amount of damage. It goes up as you scale it, and a 200 AoE around its primary target. And that lasts longer the more you pump into it, more damage. So the idea is you want to hit the big boys, or the targets that have a lot of life, and hopefully they have a few shitters close to them. This thing's going to start stacking some damage, and it's going to hit a 200 AoE around it. So although again it doesn't have AoE on its initial hit, it's that debuff that does the AoE, so this can really ramp up, get a bunch of them going. Really good fire damage. Sometimes you don't have flamethrower available, for example, and blacksmith doesn't really do AoE, so this is Inferno, for example, is single fire, a little bit of AoE, but this thing fucking, it's pretty much the early game fire AoE, so I love it. Really good. Solar tower is easy S tier. You know, what Vapor's like the OG champ, the GOAT for the water for level 1s. Solar's right up there. Alright, we'll try to pick up the pace. I know it's taking a while, but I want to make sure you guys have all the info to help you climb your rank games. So Inferno. This tower does decent damage, a little bit of AoE, very fast attack speed, and the ability Convergence. Basically starts hitting. Once the target moves past your tower's AoE, it will still hit them. So it's really good against killing bosses. You put it at the front, it passes its AoE, it's still hitting. If the boss is fucking halfway across the map, this thing's still giving the boss some, you know, the cock of justice here. It's just plowing it non-stop. And I generally like to have it either just focus on the highest health unit, or sometimes I want it as a cleanup, you switch it to focus low health stuff. So has its uses. I like it. I mean, it's not S tier, but when you need it, it's one of the best at just killing those big boys, bosses. So if you factor that all in, I think it's definitely A tier. So let's get that into the A tier list. Try to pick up our pace. Okay, first time making a tier list video, guys, so bear with me. So we'll give it A tier. I think it's better than Disease Tower. Again, I don't have so much space and I can't really change what I've done, but definitely I think it's better than Disease Tower. But it's definitely A tier, top of A tier, guys. Alright, so now we're moving to elementals or nature. We got the fucking big mushroom. It doesn't look like a cock, just a sturdy mushroom here, guys. So that's earth, nature, does AoE damage. Damage isn't crazy, but it's got 300 AoE, so it's got a pretty decent splash damage. It's alright, you know, it's your kind of cookie cutter, bread and butter, level 1 AoE little spore, just hits shit. Now, it does have a benefit if you got a lot of slow towers in your defense, it does stack and do more damage based on how slow the target is. So if you have a bunch of, you know, root towers and fucking muck towers and what else slows? Windstorm. There's a few other ones, I can't remember them all now, but if you have a bunch of them all slowing, then this will scale well. So it's not the worst. Let's say you don't have any slow, you take out that ability, it still does AoE damage. It's not bad, you know, it's average, solid. Probably like in the slightly better than Atom Tower or in the same kind of range, so that's what we're gonna give it. Again, if your maze has a bunch of slows and it's better than the Atom, if it doesn't, it's probably a bit worse. So overall, we'll call it B tier, maybe tied or slightly worse than the Atom Tower. Alright, so we got Bloom up next. This is what I really like. So AoE damage, not as sturdy on the hit, but it shoots a lot faster. Decent range, 200 AoE. If it doesn't, you know, it starts blasting rapid fire, and that will start ramping to a point. And eventually, if it doesn't attack, it kind of winds down. So you want it generally where there's action in the front. You don't want to really have it as a picker at the back where it's just once in a while picking shit off. You want it in the front, in the middle, always pumping damage, so and that's where you get your value. So really good tower. It's kind of like the Nature's version of the AoE, just heavy hitter like the Vapor or, you know, the Lightning or the Solar type of thing for Nature. So I like it. Definitely like that one. Let's get that one in there. Definitely think it's in the... Oops. Where are we? Fat fingered that, guys. My apologies. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It's still very good. Could be a lower A tier. I mean, the handicaps, you know, not terrible, but I find it useful. So we'll put it in the... Okay, fuck it. Let's put it in top of S or A tier or really low S, but very good tower. Alright, so this one's gonna be a little controversial, guys. The Howitzer Tower from Earth, you need Earth and Dark to get it. Has okay damage, it scales fine, but late game again, I find it falls off a lot harder than some other towers. It's very niche. Some maps where there's not a lot of range, or it's a really tight map, where they're coming in fast, they're exiting fast, it's not that good, it's very fucking slow. And the damage isn't great. It does do decent AoE the further the distance is, and the closer it is. I think it does bonus damage, so it's kind of hit or miss. It's not the worst, not the best, but it's very map specific. So for that, I would say it's probably... Again, some maps when it's great, it's better than the ranking I'm going to give it. But when it's good, it's very good. It's just... You don't find it often like, oh fuck, I got this amazing. Like, you know, you're happy to see it. It's just situational. So for that reason, I would say normally it's a C. When it's good, maybe it's like a decent B or a low A at the very best. But overall, I'm going to put it into the C category. It's just average. With a little upside. So the good Earth Tower. So Earth and Water. We got the Geyser Tower. Really good damage. It is slow. Decent range on it. Its basic attack shit, just single fire, but on the fourth attack, it does, you know, an AoE hit, and that scales as you level it up, more damage, more AoE range. So, although it is slow, you're not unhappy to see it. I think it's definitely, maybe not as good as the Vapor, or the Solar, or whatever, Lightning, but it's definitely very good for the towers, so, for tier 1 towers. Let's go ahead and put it... Let's put it in A tier. It's not S, it's very close, you know, it's a bit slow, but it is useful, so I think it's definitely in the A tier. Maybe a little worse than Inferno Bloom, but it's not by much, guys. It's a good tower. I like getting it. Alright, so the second tier, these are your buff towers. There's only 3 sadly. I don't know why the fucking dark doesn't have it. These guys don't have it, but you get the 3 buff towers for these factions. So this one for the light, you need light and darkness. The trickery tower does decent single fire damage, no AoE, it's pretty fast, good range on it. Basically it clones something every 15 seconds for a certain amount of time. You scale it up, it lasts longer. The caveat is you can't keep cloning the same tower, but it is good. For example, you have, let's say you sell all your shit, you kind of jump the level tree, you get a fucking astral tower that just starts decimating, or an ethereal or whatever. You get a really good tower for 500 bucks. You get 1 trickery and it'll make a copy of it for a bit. So for the value of the 500, it's not bad. You don't want to just do it on one ideally, because you want to have at least 3 or 4 towers close to it, so you're getting constant copies of stuff, because it can't keep copying the same thing. So there is that, and the other problem is curse creep will blow it up. So it's not like it's permanent buff. You know, it has its moments where it shines. Personally, out of the 3 towers overall, I think it's probably the worst one, although again it has its uses. So with that in mind, where are we putting trickery? I'm gonna say it's either really high C tier or low kind of B tier. Again, it's not bad. I do like the other ones more, so we're gonna put it in like this low B tier range. Now the well tower, this one I like a lot more. Probably one of the best ones. So, if not the best, I think. It's definitely, I'm going to give it the edge in a sec to blacksmith, but I'll explain it. So single fire target damage, decent attack speed, but you're not really buying it for its raw output. It's got good range on it, but the buff. So the more you put into it, you're buffing, you know, other attacks, attack speeds of your other towers, 10%, 30, 90% for 60 seconds. You can have 4 towers buffed at once. You can control it if you want, whatever, but for me, why it's better, and I'll show you guys this one in a second, is not that it's buffing their damage, it's buffing attack speed. Now, certain towers don't really care about the damage buff as much. For example, if you start buffing your geyser tower, right, and now it's attacking more frequently, that's going to trigger its special. So for me, having attack speed is probably better than having raw damage output. That's just what I feel for overall. Some towers, this is going to be more useful than just buffing raw damage. Again, some towers need that damage, they scale, they have multipliers or whatever, but I think overall the well tower is the best of the buffing towers. So we're going to put it in S tier. That's just my opinion, guys. If it's not S tier, it's top of 8 tier, so I'm putting it here. And having said that, we got your blacksmith tower, which is fire and earth. So compared to this one, it's kind of similar damage, similar everything else, right? The stats on the range, no AoE on its hit, same attack speed. I think they're all the fucking same. Yeah, they're all the same. So this one just buffs their damage, 10, 30, 90%. Same thing otherwise, but how many towers are gonna make use of it as good? So for example, you know, the astral tower, okay, it's going to do more damage on its raw stuff, and once in a while it's going to do some AoE damage, whatever. You know, certain towers like the Jinx tower is going to get more from the ramping versus just having more attack speed. So again, it's neck and neck. I'm giving the edge to the well, but still a very good tower. You know, level 3, you pump that up, that's 90% buff. That's fucking nuts. And that does 4 towers within its range. It's really good. Did I forget to put my well tower? Oh no, I got it here. Never mind, folks. Okay, so definitely, you could argue, again, comparable. You could say it's top of 8 tier for towers, but it is a great tower. You're happy to get it. Definitely crank that shit up. 90% is good. So we'll put it like bottom of S tier, but a little bit worse than the well tower. Okay, so now we're going into the 3rd tier towers from light. We got astral. Now it requires 3 elements to get it unlocked. The damage on it's pretty high, but it doesn't have a level 3 upgrade like these guys do. And as you scale up, for example, these towers don't have any upgrades. You just buy them and you get what you get. So this one does have an upgrade. Decent range, 1500 is very good. Attack speed's pretty fast. So what makes this good is for every once in a while, every 3-4 seconds, it has a cooldown. It can hit 3 targets no matter how far they are. So you're hitting 3 at infinite range, and it does have a bit of a cooldown, but definitely a great tower early game if you fucking get it. Let's say you get the god roll, you get the 3 elements level 1, you don't buy any other, you don't buy your 3 cheapies, you just spend your 1500 bucks, you blow your load, you get an astral tower, you put it far enough to hit all the spots. This thing can hold you down for the first few waves. So really good tower. It's a little bit weak to bosses, but the range is good. So where do we put that? I can't say it's S tier, maybe really bottom S tier or high A tier. Definitely better, I think, than Disease Tower overall, because it's really useful early game. Late game it falls off a bit, but overall you're happy to see it. So we'll put it in the S or the A tier. Very good tower. Is it better than these guys for its comparative cost? Maybe, because you can get it again. First wave on shortwave mode, 1500 bucks, you blow it, you can survive and just kind of bankroll. So I think it's definitely A tier. So we'll put it A tier. Solid mid A tier, high A tier. Alright, laser tower. Hits like a truck. It can, but what makes it weird, it has good range, kind of slow, and there's no AoE, but anything close to it, all the creeps coming down the waves, if they're close to the tower, that kind of diminishes its damage output. So you want to put it where it's reaching, but you don't want it so close to the action where you're just fucking nerfing your own damage. So it is a bit of a tricky tower. It's single fire. You got to make this bitch work a bit. It's not an easy tower. Just throw it on and you're fucking, reaping the rewards like Astral. So for that reason, we're gonna give it a bit of a lower grade. I'm not happy about getting it. I usually have to really work to get it. So can't say it's terrible, but for me overall, it's kind of like this one. I'm gonna put it in like below C tier here. It's not garbage, just not excited to get it. It's good against bosses, so maybe that's a little bit low, but personally I just overall don't like it. Alright, moving on, we got Runic for Dark, Fire, and Light. Damage isn't great, it's kind of slow, decent range, does do AoE, but it's kind of like Astral in the sense that once it triggers its ability for 3 seconds, it's starting to hit all creeps within 300 AoE range around its targets. So once in a while it just starts doing massive AoE damage, and there's a bit of a cooldown, not too big but not too bad. So it's a decent AoE damage. The Ethereal we'll talk about in a sec, that's more single fire, but it does work. It's your darkness version of AoE damage. They don't really have much. They got the poison, they got disease, which is single fire. This does a bit of AoE, so it kind of keeps you afloat. So not a bad tower. Doesn't scale super well, like late game 3700 is fucking nothing, so it's not a good scaler. It's really an early mid game tower. Not amazing, not bad. So Runic, better than these two. Not really quite there with these guys, or maybe comparable to Ice, but late game obviously Ice is better, so we'll give it low B tier, guys. We're gonna give it low B tier, or high C tier. Alright, so Ethereal. This one's really good early game, mid game, because you can, again, level 1 you get it, you sell it, or you just don't buy anything, you blow your load. This thing starts fucking jizzing out fucking shots from long range, very fast, 1500 range, a little bit of AoE. Shit starts dying, it starts ramping up. So again, really early mid-game tower. Late game falls off, so you just sell it, get your fucking blood, your plague towers, your dooms, phantom zones, etc. But this can buy you time, like doing the whole astral cheese stretch. So you can do that with this one, with this one. So overall, you're not unhappy to see it early on. I like it. It's not god tier. It's very good. the late game was better, I would give it a higher rating. So I think it's definitely a top of B or early A, comparable to Astral. Is it better than Astral? I guess personal preference, depends on the damage types. I like it. It's pretty easy to use, so we'll give it a slight edge to the Astral, just a little bit higher. All right, moving on to water, nature, and darkness. So flooding tower. This is another one of those really good early mid-game ones. It doesn't scale well, but you can do level 1 cheese. You just buy this right off the bat. Decent damage. Good range, but really good AoE. Fast attack speed, and if you put it to target the strong shit, you know, it starts consecutive hits against the big boy with, you know, target lock on, it's going to ramp up its AoE damage. That will reset obviously when it switches, but if you can just start plowing the boss or, you know, plowing some meaty guy, it just does better. It just ramps well. So, and you can cheese level 1, so I think it's really good. Late game it sucks, you sell it, but for when you need it, it's just like these three, so I think it's probably a bit better because of the AoE on it. And it's consistent AoE. Astral's every once in a while. Ethereal is, you know, mostly single target, whatever. So I'm gonna give it. We'll give it a decent A, like a high A. Probably one of the better cheese towers for level 1. All right, Wisp Tower. So this is water, nature, light. Decent damage. It's kind of slow. Okay, range on it, not bad, but really good AoE. 500 fucking AoE. So it's got kind of the reverse thing going on as flooding. So each time you start hitting stuff, you're losing a bit of your damage here. Or so you get more damage, but I think you decrease the AoE. Yeah, so decreasing your AoE, but increasing your damage. So it's kind of a plus and a minus. At the very end, it just hits really hard, but it's more of a single fire massive shot, and there's a bit of a reset, so not bad. Not my favorite thing, but definitely very serviceable. So with that said, how's our Wispy gonna do? I think it's definitely usable. Do I trust it to solo? It's a bit slow, but decent AoE. Let's put it just slightly below these guys, but definitely A tier. Alright, one of my favorites, guys. So this one, the flamethrower. So fire, nature, or fire, earth, darkness. I'm not going to keep saying this, you guys can see the icons here. But what makes this great, so the initial damage is kind of shit. It doesn't necessarily scale well, but when you start stacking hits, and then you got stuff all focus firing and popping these stacks that keep multiplying, you know, 250 damage, then 1000 damage AoE per stack within 450 range of that target. You just see, like, you know, there's a huge stack of 10 guys all low, and then they just fucking blow up instantly, all of them. So really good at clearing if you have a bunch of AoE damage. It's really good at being in the choke point of your death zone or whatever. It's crucial. One of the best, I think, we call it tier 3s. Really good. Late game, again, it falls off, but you upgrade it or you just make sure it's useful. You can put it level 1, do the level 1 cheese. So I think this tower is one of the better tier 3s, so we're going to give it S tier, guys. I'm putting it S tier. There you go, S tier. So not maybe the best, or right up there, so high S tier, guys. So now it's cousin, we got the haste tower. So this is a single fire Gatling gun, just fucking starts shredding one target. Depends how you customize it to focus the big boys or clean shitters. But each attack increases attack speed by 6%, caps out at 400%. So when you do level 2, you get more damage, a little bit boost to the max cap out, and then when it's not attacking, it's just losing a bit of attack speed. So it takes a bit of time to ramp, but when it's going, constantly hitting, it's doing massive damage, and it works really well with its cousin, the flamethrower. You know, that's getting them weak. This is just fucking plowing one, just giving it, again, the cock of justice, rapid fire, you know, little constant blast. Love this tower with this. But if you have to pick one, level 1, I'd probably go with the flamethrower, although you can still do the haste cheese strat as well, level 1. So I think it's good, maybe a little bit worse, but definitely S tier, maybe A tier, or high A tier, low S tier, guys. Late game it falls off a bit, that's the one thing I don't like about it, so for that reason we're going to put it in the high S tier. Alright, moving on, what do we have? Impulse. So this one has its uses, it's really long range, good damage, it's slow as fuck, no AoE. Further the target is, the projectile distance does multiplier damage, so in this case, you know, it's going to benefit a lot from having, you know, the blacksmith or just getting attack speed boost, but it all depends on the distance. Some maps you just don't have nature damage, it'll do it, but if it's again small map, it's kind of shit. So for me, it's not a great tower, it has its uses, but overall it's not that consistent. I'm not a fan of it personally. I'd rather have the golem on most maps, so it's not garbage, but when it's bad, it's really bad, and when it's good, and overall it's like okay. So I'm gonna give it kind of like this one. I'm gonna give it C tier, like mid to top C tier. Alright, let's move on. We got Golem. So this one packs a punch, really fast, good range, no AoE sadly. It's more of a finisher or just to melt down some bosses. So when it starts hitting, it does fucking massive damage, but then it stops for a bit because it has to cool down a bit and then it attacks again. So you want it to position it where it's hitting at the beginning, and then when they kind of come around your maze, it gets a second chance at it. So you don't want to necessarily put it right at the back because then it's going to cool down, they're going to just run through. But if you can get 2 rounds of action on it, very good tower. Again, good for massive damage. It scales like shit, but when you need it for 1500, it does work. So having said that, what are we giving it, guys? Let's see. It's not bad. You gotta play around it. Good damage for the price, so we'll give it a good. It's not C tier. It's not like amazing A tier. You could say it's low A tier. We'll give it B for now, but you can say low A tier if you're feeling spicy. I'm gonna give it B tier. Not bad B tier, but it's a good tower. Just not crazy. Its late game kind of sucks, so that's why we gave it that rating. Alright, so now we're into one of my other favorites. Flamethrower is one of them. And we got Quake Tower. So yes, this thing does a little bit of AoE on its basic. Pretty good damage, you know, this is what, 3000 plus amplifier, this is 2000, but what makes this tower really good, again, it doesn't scale great, but you can level 1 cheese with it. Massive AoE damage within its range, and the shockwave hits every 5 times. So when it hits, just a massive damage. You can kill multiple creeps, so it does a lot of work. You know, comparing this to other towers of this level for the price, usually this one will do more damage than all of them. You put it in the front in a good spot around a corner, it just damage outputs does way more than all of these Inland flamethrowers sometimes. So for me, this is going to be S tier. If you want to be conservative, call it mid S tier or high S tier. It's right up there with flamethrower. I think it's just a little bit better because of the raw damage, so I'm going to give it a slight edge than the flamethrower, but very good tower. Love the Quake. The upgrade just does massive fucking damage. Great tower. So now we got the money tower. So this one, just like in the old game from Warcraft, from Element TD, I wasn't a fan of it, not a fan of it now. It's great if you have a bunch of fucking, it does single fire damage, first of all, not that fast, not that much, it's just kind of like okay stats, no AoE, and you only get output when you're fucking not spending your money. So if you're sitting there just hoarding, and you need some earth damage or whatever, you can buy it, but most of the time when I have all these other towers available, this is like the last thing I'm building or buying, because sometimes you're just blowing your money, you're trying to catch up. You don't have the luxury to just sit on your gold just to increase the damage or whatever. So I don't like it. I'm gonna give it, you guys might disagree, but I really hate this tower. If it had a bit of AoE, you know, whatever, I'll cut it some slack, but I think this tower fucking sucks. So we're gonna give it the D for dick. It's dog shit. D. Alright, so Nova Tower. So this one's a bit tricky. It is good, but what I find personally is that when you have a level 1 versus level 2, it's a huge night and day difference. Does a little bit of damage, you know, the range is good, very slow attack. What's good about it's the slow tower. So you put it on a corner, it starts slowing things all around, constantly just slowing and hitting. What I don't like is the 16%. You don't really feel it when it's level 1, but once you boost it, you spend that extra, you know, 3,500 to upgrade or whatever it is. Now you're looking at 32%. So that you feel, you know, you get a few of these going, you get some mucks or whatever. And this tower just, late game, it just scales infinitely because there's only so many towers that do it. And this is one of the best of them at slowing massive amounts of units. So I do like it. When you upgrade it, level 1, again, not the greatest. So late game, again, really strong. So on its own, without late game, it's kind of shit. But once you get it late game upgraded, it's one of the best at doing what it needs to do. So for that reason, we're going to give it shitty S tier. Again, with the upgrade, without it, you know, it's A tier or B tier. With the upgrade late game, it's S tier. So you can say high A or low S, but since it's one of the best at its job or utility, I'm going to give it a low S tier, guys. It's very good. Alright, so now we got, this is still level 3, by the way. They're just different variations. They all cost 1,500. So don't think this is the next level down. This is like tier 4. It's the same shit. Has one upgrade. Alright, so now we got the Jinx Tower. This one's not bad, but it kind of falls into the same thing where you don't really feel the benefits as much until you upgrade it, because you're getting, you know, decent range, some AoE, kind of slow, damage is kind of shit, but the ability, that's what makes it good. So it starts amplifying damage that they take. So it hits it 8%, but 16%. Late game, it's scaling, it's really strong. So late game scaling on this compared to something like, I don't know, Laser or Astral, that falls off. This is late game scaling, which stacks kind of infinitely. So for that, with the upgrade, it's very strong, kind of like the Nova, but early game, it's kind of shit. I'd rather have one of these two. So for that, if you factor both late game, early game, mid game, we're gonna give it A. I think it's A tier. If it's level 1, it's probably worse. At its best, I think it's A tier. Kind of like Disease Tower. We'll put it close to Disease Tower. Late game scaling is probably better, but yeah, A tier. Alright, Windstorm. Damage kind of shit. It's slow. Has some AoE decent, but what's good about it, it's got this tornado. It fires out, does some damage, and that tornado does 1,200 per second, so not bad on the damage, but it also slow. So it's got an AoE damage with some slow that stacks. So again, level 1 kind of shit. I don't usually upgrade it on its own unless I'm just desperate for slow. If I have Nova or Muck or something, you know, available, I'll get those. But if I can get it upgraded, you know, I'm gonna just skip level 1 quickly or buy it and then upgrade it right away. I'm not gonna just have it sitting there for the 16%, 32% slow. Now we're talking, guys. Now it's doing decent damage, 1,200, 32% slow. Otherwise, I usually don't touch it. I still think the Nova's better, and the Muck's probably better, but it's not bad. But when you're not using it just for level 1, it's kind of shit. So it would be like a C tier, but we'll give it a low B or high C. So we'll put it like above Runic. We'll see. I think that's a good spot for it. Alright, Pillar. Decent range, attack speed's kind of slow, damage is like meh, but it does AoE, and what's good about it is that it's removing, when it hits for a little bit, for 30 seconds, that's a long time, it's removing that creep's max HP, like a little debuff that just instantly, you put it in the front, now you're shaving off 11%, which is kind of nice, not great. 22% you upgrade, now you're feeling it, right? That's almost a fifth, just more of their HP, and when the creeps have 100,000, a million health, you know, that's doing a lot more than some shitty flooding tower, right? So late game, you upgrade it, amazing, that's just a monster, it scales, but early on, kind of shit, you can do a bit of damage, but it's just kind of lackluster, so balance the positive negatives. I'm not always getting it. When I can afford the up level 2, I'll do it, but if it's just level 1, that's all I get. Sometimes I just don't get it. There's just better things to buy, so I think it's not S tier, but unless you're talking about late game, but when you factor the shitty early game, I'd say it's either really low A tier, really high B tier. I like it more than Adams, so I'm a little bit of a sucker for late game towers, so I'm gonna put it at low end of A tier. Alright, corrosion. Pitiful on target damage. It's kind of slow, the range is nice, decent AoE, but what makes it good, you know, you start putting it in the front, it starts hitting the waves. Now they're getting a debuff that's doing some damage, plus it's increasing the damage they're taking by 20% and then 40%. So 20%, you feel it, right? Compared to, you know, stuff like this, it's like 11%. It's temporary, but 20% you're feeling it right off the bat. Now you upgrade it, we're talking about 40%, guys. That's fucking massive. So you throw it on, it's just fucking punishing your kill zones, just amplifying your kill zone. Very good tower. I do like the corrosion tower. On its own it's shit, but it's a really good complementary support tower. Very good. So what is this cocksucker going to be sitting at? Let's put it at... I'm going to put it in A tier, maybe a bit above the pillar, but very good late game. On its own, it's not as good, but, you know, 40%. Similar to the pillar or polar or whatever. I don't know why I said pillar. Definitely, I can't say S tier, because you do need to work around it. On its own, it's shit, but definitely, say mid A tier. Comparable to the polar. Alright, next, root tower. So damage is god awful, attack speed's kind of slow, decent range, decent AoE, but you want to position this one across the line where the waves come. You don't want to put it on angles, because you want it to throw that root in a straight line, and the creeps are coming. You want it to just hit as many of those bastards as you can, and you want to put it right at those entry points when they make their turns. So as long as you position it right, it's going to give you value. And this is, again, falls to the same problem with the Nova, you know, 16% kind of shit. You upgrade it, this thing's fucking amazing. Level 2, one of the best, just like Nova. So Nova's just easier to work with, that's why I think Nova's better, but it's right up there, guys. It just hits and slows, and it's 5 seconds. This one has to slow for 5 seconds too. Does a little extra damage, so it's not significantly worse, just takes a little bit more work, so we're gonna factor that in. Still like Nova a little bit more. So what do we give Nova? S tier. So this will give A tier, you know, top of A tier. It's definitely good. Very good. So we'll put it here. Incantation tower. So damage kind of shit on its own, decent attack speed, really good range AoE. Why I like this tower, it's kind of like the corrosion tower. You know, you start hitting the creeps, and now they're getting more damage taken. If there are no other targets within its range, then they're just taking extra damage to a point. So you can potentially do 50% or 52% extra damage against, you know, just something on its own, a boss. So in that sense, it's better. Just slightly different the way it works. This gives you a damage as well on hit plus the debuff. This is just lackluster damage, but you're getting that single fire bonus. So very comparable. We're just splitting hairs here, folks. Incantation's very good. Level 1, I think it's garbage. Level 2, much better. Level 1 is kind of call it soft. If you need it just for damage, it's not really moving the needle. So if we give that one A tier, we'll give this one low A tier, just because the damage is a bit worse. Okay, Muck. So another one of the slow towers. Damage is whatever, you're not really buying these towers for the damage. It's decent attack speed, not fast, not horrible. The range is good, good AoE, but 16%, you know, slow for that AoE, then 32%. So very strong, similar to the Nova. Really good range. This is just better in a circle, but this can fire farther. So actually no, the range is the same. So Nova's still the easiest to work with, but sometimes you just need extra earth damage, whatever. I think it's comparable, maybe just slightly worse as the Muck, so let's get that one in there. I think Nova's still the best slow tower for that tier. It's probably a little bit better than the Root, because the Root's a bit tricky to sometimes line up perfectly. This is just easier to work with, so we'll give it high A tier, better than the Root. Maybe not the best A tier, but definitely better than the Root tower. Just want to put it in so I don't clunk up this graph. Alright, so we're almost done, folks. So we're into we got this tier to go, this one, and then the final elemental tiers, again, my opinion. So Railgun. It's basic hits, kind of shit, it's slow, again, nothing to write home about. It's like average or below average raw stats, but the special is what makes it kind of good. So once it builds up enough discharge, it hits all creeps in range with a static discharge. You can see how it scales up, but when it reaches 200, it fires a high fire powered shot, global range, and it does 70,000 damage. So you know, when it goes off, it's very useful, and that number is great, but as you get to like the really late game, it maybe falls off a bit, but 70,000 damage is still nothing to scoff at in its global range. So you put a bunch of them in the front or in the middle where it can keep charging, and then it's starting to hit that backline, starting to hit that fucking boss that's about to leak. So on its own, it doesn't really stop enough AoE, but as a single fire massive damage tower, it has its use. It's kind of like a really good version of the Impulse Tower, for example, but for light. So if you factor in its weaknesses and strength, it's expensive, right? It's 4,000, what, 250? It's not cheap. Yeah, 4,250. When you need it, it's good. When you don't need it, you can kind of live without it. So I think it's not C tier. I think it's, you know, we're gonna give it. We'll give it a little bit of grace on this. I think it's definitely better than the Impulse when you need it. So maybe like low B tier. It's kind of like the trickery. We're gonna put it here. Low B tier. I can't give it A or S. I mean, when it's good, it's good. Okay. Again, with boss fire, let's go. I'm gonna boost it, guys. We're gonna go mid B tier on this. If it did more AoE and stuff and it was just more quick to charge, I'd give it higher. But sometimes I just skip it. I don't buy it. Alright, Singularity. This one I like. Its basics do decent. It's just very fucking slow. Good range, really good AoE, but what I like about it is when it hits something with that slow ass fucking attack, you know, it's like a little, I don't know, black hole. It just absorbs them, pulls them all towards that target for a little bit. So it's good at clumping shit. It's good in your death zone, you know, all your towers aren't hitting, you know, the front wall. They're starting to get pulled back, and now when those AoE start hitting, now they're all just getting decimated. So it's a really good enabler for a kill zone. Attack speed slow, but that's why you got the Well Tower, folks. You know, start boosting that shit up. This tower is going to benefit way more than having a blacksmith giving it more damage. So that's why I gave the edge to the Well Tower when you have it paired with the Singularity. I really do like this tower. Its damage on its own isn't going to save you the round because it's so slow, but when it sets up just right in your kill zone, this tower is really good. So how do we grade it? Again, you need perfect setup. On its own, it's kind of weak, so it's really a support tower. I don't think it's S tier. I think it's definitely the bottom of A tier. So that's what we're putting it. Good tower though. Alright, so now we're into the darkness of the level. Guess what? We're tier 4 now. It's expensive. Small AoE, very slow. Damage is pitiful. Decent range, nothing crazy, but it's the stacking poison, which is what makes this thing really good. So when the target dies, it's gonna pass on all the stacks to another creep within its range and refresh the duration. Stacks last 20 seconds, caps at 800 stacks. So on its own, you look at it like, well, Russ, this numbers are shit, but this is stacking up to 800 stacks. So you know, you get enough of this at the beginning, have all these things, they die, it just keeps giving the plague. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So it does do a lot of damage in the long run, assuming you position it correctly. Again, on its own, it's nothing crazy, but the value you get, the damage over time value, it scales really well. So it takes a bit of work, not great on its own, but for that factor, I don't think it's B tier. I don't think it's necessarily S tier because it does take a bit of work, but I'm gonna give it a good solid A tier. Nothing wrong with the Plague Tower. Now its cousin, the Doom Tower, I like a bit more personally. It's got decent damage. The speed's a bit slow. Range is okay. Doesn't really do AoE, sadly. I wish it did, but the Doom stack is what makes this thing fucking all-star. So, you know, it hits something with a stack of Doom, it has a refresh duration, etc. But after 20 seconds, so you want this in the front, guys. You want it to keep hitting and not focusing one thing. You want it to hit and move on. Hit, move on, keep hitting the high target health units, and then not to focus fire. You want it to spread the love. That shit's gonna explode, dealing whatever, what does it say, 10,000 damage increased by 5% per second up to a max. So the earlier you get this fucking Doom Bomb, it just keeps ticking, and then boom, you're hitting for you know, way more damage. So at the back, this thing's shit. In the front, the value, the amount of damage you're doing for the cost is fucking nuts. So I do love this tower. Just massive damage. Is there something I'm missing about it? One sec, guys. I don't remember when it dies or the Doom blows up. Does it do AoE? I think it just hits that target, but it just does massive damage. And again, it stacks, so I really like it. We're gonna give it S tier. I'm always happy to see the Doom. Just the amount of damage it does is just silly. Can't say it's like the god tier of S, but it's definitely, you know, mid to low S tier. We're gonna put it in that range. We're gonna put it here. But very good tower. I'd rather have that than the Plague usually, so I like them both though. These are both really good. Alright, the Tsunami Tower. This one's a bit controversial, folks. Some people love it, some don't. For me, you gotta look at the map. Some maps, this thing just does amazing work as a backline where it's at the back, there's a little corner where they gotta circle around. You pop its special and it just does nutty damage. Just no other tower can do what this thing does, but other times you don't have those perfect maps where you have those perfect corners where they go fucking 360 around, or they're just doing like little quarter turns. So you have to work with it. Its raw stats aren't that great. Like it does, yeah, 7,500 damage, 1 attack speed per sec, whatever. It's slow, good range, no AoE. So you're not buying this for its, you know, for its basic shit. It's really the special that makes this thing, when it works, just fly off the charts. So basically put it in the back, they follow, it keeps charging stacks, and then you got to click on it to unleash those stacks. But it hits everything within a massive circle radius, and the more stacks it has, you can see how the scaling works. Every 50 charges, it caps damage from 20, 50, 85 to 130k damage. So for what you're paying, instantly doing, you know, 1,000 or whatever, 130,000 damage to 20 targets. Like no other tower is doing that much damage, and it's really good as a cleanup. But sometimes you just can't use it, or it takes too long to charge, or you only have what, 50 or 100 stacks and you're doing like a measly 50k damage, 20k. It's kind of shit. But in the right environment, the potential's there. It's hard to always make use of it. So it's one of those high upsides, doesn't always work out. So for that reason, again, when it's good, it's fucking godlike. When it's bad, it's kind of shit, and it doesn't really do much on its own. So I can't give it S tier. I can't even give it A tier. I'm gonna give it, you know, kind of like the railgun. It's good when it's great, and other times it's just kind of lackluster. I'm gonna give it B tier. If it was better, more consistent, I would give it A tier. But for now, it's B tier. Alright, this is one of my favorites of the level 4s, especially for water. We got the Spire. So the Crystal Spire, you put it in the front or on a corner. It does a lot of damage. Its attack speed is slow, the range is small. Again, its basic attack doesn't do AoE, but why you're getting it is for the ability. So it starts these little sprites that circle around up to 10. They eventually blow up and then it has to recharge, but when they start blowing up, they start doing a lot of damage. And the sprites do 625, so you get 10 sprites, all this AoE damage. This tower just does fucking nutty damage, kind of like the Doom. It's going to be doing, compared to the other level 4s, it's going to be doing the most damage when positioned right. You don't want it blowing its load when there's Divine Shields, so you want to make sure Divine Shields popped. They're all fucking clumped up, walking in. And the Crystal Spire is just fucking decimating, massive damage. Love this tower. You gotta work with it a bit. It's not too hard to do, but you always love to see it. Like for water damage, this is the best. Other than the, you know, tier 4 water tower, this is the best. So I'm gonna give it strong S tier. Just for the amount of damage it's doing, it's fucking nutty. It's kind of like the Doom in that sense. I don't know where I put my Doom guy. Maybe give it a little bit of a higher edge because it's just raw upfront damage. Doom takes time to work, so we're gonna give it solid mid to high end S tier. We're gonna put it right there with the Quake and the Flamethrower, like the value of what you pay, what you get. Maybe even a little higher, guys. I'm a bit of a sucker for just buying like 5 or 6 of these, so we're gonna put it here, high S tier. The Obelisk. So this is kind of like the Fire's version of that one. It's more of an upfront thing. You put it in, it's got okay damage on its basic, decent range, no AoE, but when it starts splitting off, that beam it's doing, when it starts switching targets, then it's exploding, dealing 4,000 plus 200 AoE, and that gets, it's incrementing by 4,000 damage, 25 AoE per attack. Speed cooldown, whatever. So the more you start doing it, the more beams, then it switches off and boom, you're hitting higher and higher and higher. So it does ramp. It's kind of like the late game Flamethrower, but just a little different. I think it's good. It's not Crystal Spire good, but I think it's a very decent one. So maybe not S tier, or if it is S tier, it's low S tier or high A tier. Since the other one's kind of shit, I'm gonna give it a little bit more preference and give it low. It's not as good as Doom, but I think it's not too much worse, so we're gonna give it in that low S tier range. Now this one, when I first read it, I thought this was amazing, and after playing a game, a few games with the #1 player and getting his thoughts on certain things, I've kind of changed my perspective on things, which I'll get into later. But this one is a bit of a trap, like, decent damage, whatever the range. It sets them on fire, 4,200 damage per second, increases the damage, so you're getting decent damage, plus you're ramping the damage they take by 28%, but it's speeding them up by 50%. So it's kind of a poison pawn, it does something nice for you, but it's also fucking you when you're not paying attention. So if you don't have like a bunch of slows to mitigate that speed up, like you don't want to see the fucking boss tower or whatever, the boss guy level 3 come in and just run through your shit, and you don't have any way to slow him, and then it feels like this little damage increase is just not enough to offset the 50 speed percent boost. But if you got enough slowing, you can kind of make it work. So for me, it's hit or miss. It's definitely not a shitter like the money tower, but I usually don't buy it. It's pretty rare that I get this one. If I just need the fire damage, I'll do it, but again, you gotta work for it, and it's not all suns and or whatever, all sunny side up or flowers and roses here, the saying, guys. So we're gonna put it into, not absolute trash, we're gonna put into that kind of that C tier, like these guys. Has their unique niche uses, but I don't think it's great. So this one on paper kind of looks like this one. You'll guys see as we get to it. So it does a lot of damage, very slow, good range, good AoE, but the damage it does, as you see your damage charts, kind of like the Crystal Spire. So it just does massive fucking damage. But the drawback is it's hurling something from point A to the front, right? So you know, it picks the target at the back and then it launches them like halfway across the map or whatever, really far, and the further it goes, the more damage it deals. But it's also skipping that unit up ahead. So you're going to say, Russell, well, this is kind of like the Rage one where there's a pro and a con, and you're right, but overall the damage it's doing is just massive. So the damage numbers are going to be right up there with the Spire. So yeah, it has a drawback, but I'm using this one anytime I can get it. Usually, I'm not saying I'm buying like 10 of these, but I'll have 1 or 2 at least if I can. I think it's definitely more used than this for me. The Spire, I'm always using Doom, you know, Singularity. Archdruid is very good, it's just massive damage. It's one of the best nature towers other than, you know, the level 4 nature guys. So I'm going to give it, even with the shitty drawback guys, I'm giving it S tier. Very useful tower. Now it's not godlike like top of S, but it's definitely like solid mid S tier. Kind of like the Obelisk, maybe a bit better. So we're gonna give it mid S tier, even with the fucking shit drawback. Now the Tesla tree. This one, I'm sure people can make it work. Maybe I just suck with using it. The way this thing works, it does some raw damage. Very average stats, no AoE, so it's more of a rapid fire, but you start building them, it starts linking with other Tesla trees within its range, and when they link together and within their range, they start gaining 1,000 damage each. So to really benefit from this, you gotta blow a shitload of your money in building a bunch of these Tesla trees, and then it starts paying off, but then you're investing a shitload into just some rapid fire single target thing. So for me, if you just buy one of them, it's shit. You really gotta invest balls deep into it to get anything out of it. So for that reason, I find I rarely get it. Maybe again, I just suck using it. I don't like it personally. If you guys love it, you know, all the power to you. Do what makes you happy, but I personally don't like this one. Yeah, it links together their attacks, but it also, like their buffs, so you got a bunch of well stuff, blacksmiths, anything buffing it, but it's also linking the debuff, so a bunch of curses, they all share the link, so it's a double-edged sword, doesn't do AoE, it's a fucking money sink, this tower. I don't like it, so I'm not saying it's useless, it's not the fucking money tower, but I just don't like this fucking tower. And usually when I find I have to buy it, like, oh, there's no Archdruid tower, like I'm stuck buying it, I'm probably losing the match. It's really where I buy this and I win the match, so I despise this tower. I don't want to say D tier, again, maybe I'm just playing it bad, but it's definitely bottom of C tier. Don't like the tower. Alright, the Shredder. So this one's very strong, decent damage, kind of slow, good range, good AoE. What's good about it, you know, you want to put it in the front, so you're taking something and you're splitting it into 2 smaller creeps by killing the original one. So you can put it in the kill zone for it to trigger. You don't want it right at the front, but when it does that kill shot, you're splitting them off, each with 55 HP and half the bounty. And attack damage applies after creeps are split. Cannot split a creep more than once. So it's one of those towers where, you know, when you work with it, it's making it easier, kind of just more units, more stacks. I don't know with the money, if it splits the money, you're getting more money, so I'm not sure about that part. I'm still a bit new to the game, but it does a lot of AoE damage. It's not bad. I don't think it's, you know, as good as some of the other ones here, but it's definitely not a shitter like the Tesla or the Rage one, etc. I don't mind the Shredder. I'm gonna give it this one's a bit tricky. What are we giving the Shredder? I think it's either really low A tier or high B tier, but sometimes you just need that earth damage, you don't have anything else, so I'm gonna give it low A tier, guys. Low A tier. So here's one that's controversial. For me, it was a bit of a shocker. So when I first started playing the game, I thought this thing was fucking the cat's meow. It was massive damage. So the way it works, 8,000 damage, very fucking slow auto, decent range, great AoE. But the mutate abilities it threw me off, because when I started building it, basically it's doubling the target's HP, but that target is slowed, right, based up to 35% based on HP. Then the target emits radiation around it, dealing at 0.3% of that target's current HP and 3,000 damage per second, and an AoE around it. So it does do a lot of damage. The duration is permanent, it cannot stack. So you're saying, Russell, well, this is good and bad, but why don't you like it? So as a novice player, when I was looking at my damage charts every round, this thing was always doing the fucking most amount of damage per cost from other towers in the comparable range. But you're buffing something and by double. So again, late game, when something has 1 million health, or a fucking boss or whatever, for example, now it's 2 million. This thing's running through your tower, and all my towers are wasting all their energy trying to fucking focus down the meaty guy, instead of like focusing on the shitters. And then the towers start letting things through, and then it's a kind of a cascading effect. You got creeps coming in, you're still dealing with these big buffed shitters, and now you're leaking a second wave, a third wave, and you can't recover. And as the game goes on, there's just more that HP scaling. You feel it more. So for me, it's definitely a kind of a poison pawn. And after speaking and playing with, because I asked him about this, because I was building it, I'm looking at my damage charts, thinking I'm fucking a genius, and I was talking with the #1 player, and I'm like, well, what about the nuclear tower? He's like, I don't buy it. He didn't like it, and I never saw him build it. So. And after playtesting it, I realized he was right, I was the idiot. And definitely stay away from it. If you need it, maybe early mid-game, right before like super late game, you just need that fucking earth damage, whatever, you can be forgiven to get it. But as the game gets to the crazy level, level 50, 60, where they have just insane HP, just sell it. Because you're going to be fucking yourself more than you're helping yourself. So having said all this, where are we putting it? It's not garbage dog shit. You can use it for a bit and sell it. It does decent damage, but again at a cost. So I think it's either really high D or the low of C, kind of like the Tesla tree. We're gonna put it right there with the old Tesla, same fucking, use it with caution, guys. And you pick what, it's a dealer's choice which one you like or dislike more. I've learned my lesson, this has fucked me sometimes, so I try to avoid it. Alright, next one, we got this is still last tier, and then we'll talk about the elementals themselves when you max them at tier 4. So Phantasmal Zone. This one I do really like. On its own, yeah, it's kind of slow, decent range, no AoE, but what makes this, really shine, it holds the creep. You put it in your kill zone or just at the front of the kill zone. It holds it for 2 seconds. And during this time, all that damage it's been storing, it will unleash it. 20% of that and a 300 AoE shockwave. You can't keep doing the same holding on the same creep, so you have multiples. You can hold enough in place. They all sit there while your kill zone's just plowing on all the damage. Then everything keeps moving and it goes, explodes, and fucking just insane damage output on this tower. On its own, again, doesn't do much, but it's amazing support tower. So I do really like this Phantom Zone. I don't know why I said Phantasmal Phantom Zone. Really like this one. Great fucking tower. One of the best support towers. Pricey, but if you have the setup for it, definitely S tier. We're gonna put it in that Archdruid range, kind of right up there with Archdruid. I just don't have space, guys. I'm not saying it's a lot better. I'm just moving here because it's close to Archdruid. All right, the Life Altar Tower. Its raw stats are very meh, very average. You're not buying it for this. If you're buying it just for its own, just don't blow your money. You can spend it better. Now, it does have a cool active, where it buffs all the attack speed of the towers within the tiles for 35% for 12 seconds. So you do get a nice little boost, but every 3 kills by an affected tower gives you a life, which is good. But if that little burst, for example, doesn't pay off and you're not getting those kills, then you're actually losing life. So you can use it to like gain back if you're low. It has its moments. I'm not saying it's awful, but I find that, you know, it's a bit of a gamble, and sometimes they don't get the kill shot, something else does, or just goes right out the timer. It's kind of a net negative sometimes, and it has a pretty long cooldown on its own. The raw stats are kind of shit. Not horrible, but not great. I think it's very mediocre. So I don't want to say it's dog shit. I don't think it's like this. I think it's definitely either high C tier or really bad B tier. So that's where we're going to put it. We're going to put it in the low B tier for me. Again, the speed boost is nice, but just the fact that when you do it, you're losing life. You know, sometimes you're at one life, and then what? You know, you don't get those. You can't use it anymore. So it basically shuts the thing off. So that's why I'm going to give it low B tier. Alright, gravity cannon. This was another one I was falling for before. Similar to the nuclear one. Looks great on paper, right? Decent damage. The range is nuts. 1500 range. Some AoE. So when it hits something, you're boosting that target's speed by 400% for... It's like a mini 0.5 second boost. But that laser it hits slows creeps by 80% for 0.75. So yeah, you are slowing them on average more than, you know, longer duration than the slowest of the one target, but you are speeding up, in a sense, that target by 400. So it's going to move up the line, and that can throw off kind of the way the creeps are. You don't want them all split up in like portions. You want them all bunched in like groups. So this can throw off all your turrets hitting that one guy that's far ahead of everyone else. So it kind of fucks with your creep pattern, in a sense. And it just speeds them up. So personally, I don't like it that much. It's not as bad as nuclear or life. So usually I don't get it. Sometimes I get one, but I'm not like happy to see it. I definitely like, you know, some of these other tier 4s a lot more. So with that said, where are we putting it? I think it's better than these ones. Not as good as like the Shredder, but not much worse, but I don't always get it, so I'm going to give it like, can't even say average, I'm going to say it's probably low B, mid B, but in between. I think this is a better reflection of where it belongs in my tier list. Not like C tier or anything, but nothing crazy, and sometimes it just fucks you. So now everyone's favorite part, guys, and again, this is personal opinion, but I did get feedback off the #1 player in the world, and I think he's pretty right on this. So you guys can agree to disagree, put it in the comments. So now we're talking about the level 4 upgrade of the tower. We're not talking about it overall and the how 2 is and 3 and 1. We're talking about just raw level 4 upgrade of the basic elements. Cost a lot of money to do it. We're just going to compare them to each other. We're not comparing them to anything else. So we're just going to do a final ranking on these tier 4 elements compared to each other. That's how we're going to do it. So starting off with light. You're getting max 70,000 damage at level 4. Decent attack speed. The range is nuts. No AoE, so it is single fire. It is good at killing bosses, so I'll give it that. You know, it does have its perks. You can more hits on the boss. It starts stacking damage, you know, 1600 damage. But for me, it kind of falls off because what's 1600 stacking damage? Which is, yeah, it is stacking, but when the creeps have, you know, 2 million, 1 million, or some stupid number of health, what's like a few extra thousands of damage? What's good about it is the range and just the speed. So it's easy to work with. You throw it in the middle, it's going to hit all those towers, so it's pretty functional, but for raw damage output, I don't think it's that great. So let's do its own tier for this one. So all, obviously, guys, let's just get it out of the way. All these are level 4s. They're all fucking S tier because they're just the best towers in the game. So we're just going to compare them to each other on our E category. Doesn't mean this isn't an S tower. These are just within each other. I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's the best. I think it's kind of very mid, or mid, slightly lower. We're going to call it mid for now. It's not my favorite. It's not bad. It's very average, but a little lackluster on the raw damage. But it is the best at single fire, so there's that. And Darkness is kind of the same. It's got crazy fucking range, not as high as Lightning, right? We're at 1500. The speed is very slow, but it does a lot more per hit. But what makes this thing stupid is that when it, kills anything, any excess damage transfers to a nearby creep, and then that gets an additional 12% of their max health damage. So it scales really well. It is slow, but it just does a lot of fucking damage, and it's got crazy range. So you put it in the middle, it hits all the fucking creeps from the beginning to end. It's good at focus firing the shitters, hitting the big boys. It scales. So I don't think it's the best, but I think it's slightly better than the light tower, so that's what we're gonna give it. I do like this one. We're gonna put it above light. Alright, water. So this one, yeah, its damage is kind of shit per hit, but the attack speed's 1.5 versus 0.66 per second. The range on it's decent, nothing crazy. It does do AoE, which is amazing, and then whenever another creep within its 125 AoE of the target, a secondary attack will strike for 40%. So when they're all clumped up, it's just doing more raw damage than these guys are, and especially in the front and in the corners. Overall, the raw damage output I think is better than Darkness or Light, and for that reason, so late game they just have so much fucking life. There's so many of them, they keep coming, and I like it. It's not my favorite one, but I really do like this one. So here's our little graph. Water. We're gonna give it a slight edge than the Darkness tower. Alright, next. We're down to our last three, folks, and the video will be done. The Fire Tower. Alright, this one is on paper, look, 13,000, sorry, not 1,000, 17,000 damage. Doesn't look as crazy as, 3,800, whatever, but the attack speed, guys, we're talking 3.0. It's just rapid fire, decent range, not as good as these guys. But you're putting it in the front, you're putting it in those corners, those kill zones. It does 300 AoE damage per hit, which is attacking 3 times faster than, well, not 3 times, but almost 3 times faster than this guy. 300 AoE, and then you got the special. So for each second this tower is attacking, it's gaining 1, 6, 36. So level 4, obviously, it's 576 damage when it keeps firing, and then it resets after 3 seconds of not attacking. But those big waves where they keep coming and it just has tons of targets to hit and it's never stopping, that's just constantly fucking ramping up. AoE damage. It does nutty damage, folks. It does even more damage than the water tower. So yeah, it has its drawbacks, but raw damage, when it's working well, this thing just out damages most of these towers, and it's easy to set up. You put it in your choke points in those corners. Amazing tower. And again, my kind of gut feeling on it, and again talking with the best player in the world, we're gonna put this for now in the best of so far the towers. So here we go. Fire is number 1. You guys again can agree, disagree, put it in the comments, but it is the best in my opinion. Again, the best player's opinion. Probably the best tower for the level 4 of the elementals, just for raw damage output. You put a well tower on it, you fucking blacksmith it for 90%. It's just doing stupid numbers, guys. Stupid. Alright, Earth. What are we doing with Earth? So 4,700 versus whatever 17. Yeah, it's a lot more, but attack speed's good, right? Decent range, but no AoE. So it's just a Gatling gun, right? It's basically your haste tower on steroids, but for nature. So does massive damage, and the other drawback with it, so for the first second of attacking, it's gaining 250 damage boost, but then it kind of resets when it's not attacking. So as long as it's attacking, it's good, but it's single target. So, you know, I like AoE stuff personally, but when it is hitting, constantly hitting, it is doing crazy numbers, crazy damage output, and the numbers don't lie. It's very well balanced. So yeah, even though it's shitty single target, it does do a lot of damage. It just starts melting shit. So we're probably gonna, I might have to rearrange our positioning. I think it's definitely better than these two, maybe a little bit worse than the water elemental. So sadly I can't move this, so we'll put it in third place for now. Water's 2, fire is 1. And we're down to our last one. And obviously there's the periodic tower, which sometimes unlocks, where when you have all the elements, it's like your god S tier tower. It's better than all of these, so I'm not even going to put its own ranking. It's just the best tower in the game, but you can't always get it. But having said that, last tower we're ranking, Earth Tower. 5400 damage, very slow, decent range, 300 AoE. So on its own, it's hitting. It's just a little bit slow. But it does do the shockwave, which hits for 1500, kind of spread out. Starts at 400 AoE, grows to a max of 1000, and then reset of not attacking. So as long as it keeps fucking devastating, it's doing massive AoE. The only drawback, again, it is a bit on the slower side. So it's not my personal favorite. I don't think it's the worst one. I don't think it's, you know, the best one. So where does that put it? I think it is better than the light. For me, it's close. It's definitely worse than water. You know, it's comparable. It's closer to the nature and the darkness. Worse than this, better than this. AoE is great, but it is pretty slow. So, you know, take your pick, guys. I think it is overall worse than the nature one, comparable to the darkness one, but we're splitting hairs here, folks. But if I have to give it a ranking, you know, obviously if you need earth damage, go for it. It's going to be better than the darkness if you already have a bunch of darkness towers. But all things being equal, let's say you're not lacking earth damage or darkness, and we're just comparing them, I think it's maybe just a little bit better if you make it work better. But it's so minor. So I'll give it the 4th place. Yeah, we'll give it 4th place, just by a hair. But you could easily take Dark in its place and say this is the 2nd worst tower, and I'm not gonna blame you. It's just personal preference. But if someone put a gun to my head, we'll give it 4th. So to summarize, we got Fire best, Water number 2, Earth 3. This number 4, sorry, Nature 3, Earth 4, Darkness 5, and then Light. So that's the final rankings of the tier list, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, throw any comments, and if you guys have your own opinions, throw them in the comments. We'll discuss it. It's open dialogue, my opinion. But again, I'm not you know, I'm not coming out of nowhere. I do have some weight to my opinion. Now, again, I'm just learning the game, but I'm already top 120 on ranked, same rank mode, and I'm getting better. So I definitely could see myself scaling higher than this, but that's just my feedback. If you want to play this mode, hopefully this information is helpful to you, and appreciate you guys watching. Thank you, and don't forget to stay frosty. Take care.